Hey guys, Adrian here, Kid Guru here, like Cool Man, whatever. I recently have been watching, or listening I should say, to these two podcasts that kind of got me inspired to do this. I guess one is a podcast and the others are just YouTube videos or YouTube channels, but they can also be considered podcasts. One being Mac Power Users over at 5x5, that is the number 5x5.tv. Really cool podcasting network. There's a show on there that is called Mac Power Users. I definitely recommend you check it out if you're into OS X and just workflows in general. They get prominent Mac users and they talk about their workflow, the software they use, and to do their everyday jobs, lives, and businesses, etc. Very cool show, and it got me to thinking. I wanted to do kind of this for my own viewers, kind of show you what I use for my more recent project, and that's my over at youtube.com/smartermedia.org and smartermedia.org for my upcoming presentation videos and education tutorials, and kind of an insight to what I use to record overall, not just presentation and educational content or tutorials, but overall a way I use the software and methods I use to record, tips, etc. Also, I've been watching a lot of CPG Gray, Bozeman Biology, all these other famous educators on YouTube. That kind of really got me back into my whole, I used to be, or I still am known on the internet as Kid Guru. That's my claim to fame. And guru, you think of that, you think of somebody who knows a lot about something or teaches something. And I wanted to show you my workflow in that of how the software I use to help teach others. Before I do that, I want to talk about the first thing up here is common misconceptions with video that a lot of people take for granted or don't even realize. When you watch a video, first off, it is a finished product. It's by all means something that is just have been edited, like the one you're watching right now. This is a finished product. It's something that I took, I recorded, I edited. Sometimes, I'll shoot right off the bat and I'll upload it right away, I'll render it. But, even that in a way is editing, because I re-render the video and I process it to get better quality, to get it shrunken down to a smaller file size. The video does take a time, a good portion of your time, especially if you do it as your job or, a hobby. Even at that, it's a very tasking process to record, and then obviously not everybody gets the recording right away, and not everybody, especially if you're new to YouTube or new to video making, you don't always get the tutorials or etc. Done down on the first take. And even me, I've been on YouTube so long, I still have times where I stumble and I have to re-record, or I'm not satisfied with the way I shot it. So yeah, you see a finished product, it looks all great and dandy, but there's a lot of work that goes into that, especially if they're more elaborately edited. And as you can see there, I just dropped my stylus, so that is an issue right there. I could edit that out and I could cut on to me talking on, but I'm not. I'm just gonna keep on kind of going with the flow here. Anyways, another misconception, a lot of people tend to think higher budget equals better quality, and not at all. It's something I want to stress, not at all. While you can have better quality and better cameras, etc., and better software that produces better looking content, content is key. Just remember that. If you have something good to say, something good to teach, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're in 1080p or in 720p or in 480p. Regrettably, or not ironically, but in retrospect, you want to at least be in 360p range up, because if you're in 240p and people can't really see what's going on, that's a different story. And a common misconception that people will not be interested in what I have to say. You don't know until you try. Obviously, that's how I got started on YouTube, and I gotten some fame from that, and I've gotten some subscribers. So there is somebody out there who is always interested, who will be interested in something that you have to say. So yeah, with that, let's move on. Presentation software I use. So first off, I use on my Mac, I use Keynote, available for OS X and Windows. There's also PowerPoint and Google Docs, all great software to use PowerPoint software to make these little presentations like I have now. You don't necessarily need to use presentation software to teach something, but it's a cool method that a lot of people take for granted. A lot of people think presentation software is something you present a whole bunch of in front of other people, or it's boring on video. You can actually get it really interactive and really spice it up in terms of presentation wise to present to your viewers on YouTube, etc. Recording software. Right now I'm using ScreenFlow on the Mac. It's $99, so it is a bit pricey. You don't need to dive right into it, but I think it's worth it because you're paying for a screen recorder, a really good screen recorder, and a really good or decent editor. Not a full-featured editor, but a decent video editor. You can do zooming, panning, cropping and flipping and all this crazy stuff with it, adding text, etc. Camtasia is also available for OS X and Windows, so it's available on both ends. It's a higher end software as well that does recording and editing. Cam Studio is one that's available for Windows that is free. One of the best one, hands down, on Windows. It's the very first screen recorder I used. Cam Studio, Screen Ninja, and iShowU are also alternatives for the Mac that are cheaper, and Screen Ninja is actually really great for time-lapse in terms of recording, so that's something you check out if you want to do some time-lapse type content. Screen Tools. So earlier I was doing this. I was taking my mouse and I was actually drawing and checking off stuff, and I was able to scribble around on my screen using OmniDazzle. OmniDazzle is a free Mac application. On Windows, in retrospect, or on the other side, there is PicPic. There's actually a whole bunch of different apps for Windows, but PicPic also is something I featured recently, has its own presentation software built in. Sketchbook Pro and/or Express Pro is the paid version. Express is the free version. Is a very, very cool software to kind of draw up and implement pictures, or if you're doing stuff like teaching math or anything. Very cool canvas-like software to kind of just draw up animations, draw drawings, teach stuff using a blank white canvas. Very, it's simple in the fact that you can just use something like on Windows, on MS Paint, to draw math equations and all that. But on the Mac, I like to use Sketchbook. It has a lot of different tools in it, and it kind of feels like Photoshop. It has layers and stuff like that, so really, really cool software. Again, on Windows, there's so many other alternatives. Like I said, you don't have to stay with Paint necessarily. There's a ton of stuff from GIMP, etc. Bamboo software. Bamboo is the actual stylus I'm using right now to draw and write, and I'm still actually getting used to this. I don't have the perfect handwriting on this stylus as of yet, and I'm still kind of off center, and I still have issues when I'm writing stuff right here with the stylus. So Bamboo software also tends to have some presentation stuff built in if you get the higher end one, so do something something to check out there as well. And you can see there I kind of messed up the screencast here. Alright, so let's kind of wrap this up here. Media outlets. There's so many media outlets out there, YouTube, but don't just think of YouTube as the main one. Of course, that's where you get a lot of notoriety, but also check out stuff like Vimeo, iTunes, Suppose Podcasts. Decide what format you want to put it in, whether you're going to be doing a screencast and video, or maybe you're just going to be doing an audio. You're not going to really have any visuals, you're just going to do audio. But whatever you do it in, just do it in the best way you can do it. If you can do it, and if you're only going to do audio, produce the best audio you can. If you're going to do it in video, produce the best video that you can, corresponding to your hardware and, specifications. My current equipment, right now I am using an iMac 27-inch to get all this rendered and video edited, etc. all together. That's my main powerhouse machine right now. I use a Microsoft LiveCam, ironically, with my iMac to capture any face or audio that I need to record in terms of webcam, etc. I tend not to do, I used to have a podcasting mic. I tend not to use webcam mics because sometimes they're not the best quality. Sometimes they pick up a lot of background noise. It can help out a lot in your videos if you can kind of have some cleaner audio. So something to invest in additionally from a webcam or mic will be a webcam or camera would be a nice simple microphone, or even a condenser microphone if you want to get into higher quality. And again, like I mentioned, this is my Bamboo tablet. It's an old one. I'm hoping to invest into a new one next week to kind of get more of a bigger drawing area and better accuracy with the pen, etc. Last tips: get organized. Organize in whatever way you want to shoot your video before you shoot it. That way you're not all over the place. Even if it's just a simple outline of what you're going to do in the video, it always goes a long way to help out in lining up your video for how you wanted to get it shot, etc. Creativity, and just mix it up. Everybody has their own style to their videos. And different ways they want to do it. These software, just because I mentioned them, are not the go-to software you have to use. You can use whatever you want to use. But yeah, those are my suggestions. Those are my tips. Those are the screen workflow I use to record my screencast. I record them right now with ScreenFlow. I edit them in ScreenFlow, and then I use stuff like OmniDazzle and Keynote to kind of overview and put it, record everything and teach everything through that. So. With that, guys, check out youtube.com/smartermediaorg for my upcoming tutorials and educational content, and I thank you all for watching.